Mr President. I thank honourable members for their contributions, the Honourable Russell Wortley, the Honourable Jing Lee and the Honourable Michelle Lensink. Naturally, I'm disappointed that Labor and Liberal parties aren't supporting this bill, but I'm not surprised. I won't reflect on the irony of being lectured about empty slogans by the Liberal Party. I mean, let's not forget the Liberal Party's track record, Mr President, the party of stop the boats, end the waste and every other empty slogan one can think of that was parroted from the Liberal Party over the years. In the case of the Greens, at least we actually have some policies, and we look forward to being able to talk to voters about those in the lead up to the election. I look forward to seeing the Liberals announce a housing policy at some point. But on the substantive issue of the bill before us, Mr President, on the substantive point of the bill before us, I think one of the things that honourable members are neglecting in their contributions is the fact that the Malinauskas government have really rolled out the red carpet for developers here in our state over the last 4 years. Everything is the developer's way. Land release, it's getting the community to pay for new infrastructure. We're now changing the height limits in the CBD so that we can go sky high with development. The government has even done a code amendment that does away with some of those basic amenities like private bathrooms and kitchens and balconies. Well, if the developers are getting all of this land release, all of these planning changes that make it easier for them to develop, then surely there should be a return to the South Australian community by way of an increased return of social housing. Now, let's not forget, there's a requirement for 15% affordable housing already under the law. We're proposing that that be increased to 30%. 10% affordable to buy, 10% affordable to rent and 10% public housing. I don't think that is too much to ask in the middle of the worst housing crisis we have seen in generations. Now, many members have reflected, we all recognise this is a problem. The reality is, though, some political parties don't want to do anything about it because the policies that they support are allowing housing to be treated purely as an investment class rather than a fundamental human right of each and every South Australian. And it's one thing to unlock land for development. It's one thing to change planning laws to facilitate development. It's quite another to actually mandate a return of social and affordable housing. I note the government's announcement on the weekend that they're putting $500 million down so they can act as guarantee for private development. Well, more penthouses in the CBD, million-dollar penthouses in the CBD with views of the ocean is not going to be a solution to the housing crisis. That's not going to fix the housing crisis. We need to see developers stepping up and investing in social housing, and we need to see the government incentivise that investment, and we also need to see the government put some money on the table for more social housing, more public housing. Now, the Honourable Michelle Lensink referenced Thomas Playford, and I'm glad that she did because he was a visionary Premier, and one of the things that he did was set up the South Australian Housing Trust as a public builder that was the biggest builder in South Australia during a period of his premiership. Well, we can do that again if there's a political will to do so. I might add, in concluding, Mr President, we heard from the Transport Minister today that South Australian taxpayers have spent $7.5 billion on the North-South corridor. Well, imagine what we could do with that money if we invested it into housing. We can solve the housing crisis if there is the political will to do so. That's not a slogan, Mr President, that's a fact.